Trachtenberg definitely took those same tropes and kind of switched them around a little bit. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to review the newest Predator movie, Prey. It came out on Hulu Plus yesterday, and Predator is one of my favorite franchises, so of course I had to watch this movie. It stars Amber Mudthunder, Dakota Beavers, Dane DeLiegro, Stormy Kep, and it's directed by Dan Trachtenberg. This is actually Trachtenberg's second feature film that he's directed. His first full-length film was 10 Cloverfield Lane, another movie that I really like. And he's directed an episode of The Boys and Black Mirror. So this movie is supposed to be a prequel to all the other movies. It seems like they've skipped over the Alien vs. Predator movies. They are not a part of this canon. Predator movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the second one with Danny Glover, and possibly Predators, the one starring Adrian Brody. So this is supposed to be the first hunt on Earth. And Amber Midthunder plays Naru. She is part of the Comanche tribe, and she and her brother and some of the other hunters in the tribe come across the predator, and she's actually the first one who notices that what they're hunting is not something they've seen before. It's not a bear, it's not a lion, it is something much bigger. And basically in this movie, it seems like she's trying to prove herself that she is a hunter, that she can be a hunter. Of course, some of the other hunters don't really give her the respect that she deserves, so she has to somewhat prove herself. I will say that the pacing of this movie is great. I feel like in action movies, especially when there is a monster or an alien or something involved, a lot of movies nowadays, they try and rush things so you can get to the climax. But I love a movie that takes its time when it needs to take its time, and Prey does that. It is beautifully shot. There were some great scenes and some great scenery in this movie. Trachtenberg definitely has an eye for camera angles, and he knows what looks good on camera. One of the first shots that we see is when Naru is walking through her tribe, and it's a wide shot, and so you get to see as she's walking through the different homes and different people working as she's walking through, and it was a great wide shot because you got to see what daily life was like there. There seems to be a continual theme of, everything is someone else's prey, and that's basically what the predator does. It's looking for its prey, and this theme shows up a lot in this movie. I think this was the first time seeing the predator actually hunt something else and go against something else. We see him go up against a bear, and he goes up against a wolf, and he basically tries to defeat the biggest and the baddest. And I really believe that was the first time in any of these movies where I've seen the predator hunt something else. Something that a lot of these predator sequels like to do is, of course, do callbacks for the original, or at least the first two movies. And sometimes they can be a little cliched, but in this movie, they set up scenes where you think that's going to happen, and then it doesn't follow through, and you're just like, oh, okay. I thought it was going this way, and it didn't. I was definitely very surprised in a lot of scenes in this movie where when I thought one thing was going to happen, and it never did. Naru, she gets trapped in a swampy bog, and she's trying to get out, but she gets covered in this mud, and you're thinking, oh, the predator's going to show up, and because she's covered in the cold mud, he's not going to see her, and then that never happened. And they actually came up with a different way for why the predator would not see the heat signature from your body. And I think that's what a sequel should do. Even though this is a prequel, something different still needs to be done. We don't want to see the same things over and over again in these movies. We know the predator uses a heat signature. We know that he can camouflage, but Trachtenberg definitely took those same tropes and kind of switched them around a little bit, and that was great to see. We also see that the technology that this predator uses is not the same that we see in the first Predator movie with Arnold. His technology is a little bit dated. I also love that they showed what this tribe did. Native Americans used everything to make anything. They didn't waste animals. If they killed an animal, its skin was used for something. The bones were used for something. Horns were used for something. They used every part of the animal, and I loved how they showed that. It showed what they do when they skin an animal, you see her create rope out of tree bark. Like, it was just really great to see those elements because that's how life was in this country. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. Again, Predator is one of my favorite franchises. Of course, the original is the best, and then I loved Danny Glover's Predator 2. I also really loved Predators with Adrian Brody. I thought that was a great concept. It was something different as well. I feel that they should have explored more in sequels. And then we come to this one. This is probably my next favorite. So in that order, this is another movie that I would watch again. There were only two things I really had an issue with this movie. The first thing was the ending fight scene. I do felt like it wasn't built up as much as it should have been. It wasn't like this epic battle like with Arnold or even with Danny Glover fighting the Predator. I feel like it just happened, and I thought there was going to be more to it, and then when it ended, I'm like, oh, that was it? I was expecting a whole lot more. The other thing I didn't like is right before she goes to fight the Predator, she has this line where she says something like, you know, you didn't think I could be a hunter, but I am a hunter. But the way she delivers the line, it just seems very cheesy, and it doesn't seem to fit the rest of the movie. I feel like she could have said something a lot better. Another thing I didn't really like, the Predator looks like it's CGI. I really do not like when they CGI the Predator's face. If they were able to do practical effects in the 80s, they can do practical effects now, and it still looks great. So I never like when they use CGI on the Predator, especially his face. But besides that, again, I really enjoyed this movie. I also love when they try to connect sequels to their predecessors, and they do that in this one. It is set in 1715, and if you've ever seen the second Predator movie, you know that Danny Glover gets a gun handed to him by one of the Predators, and it says 1715 on it, and that gun shows up in this movie. We see where the gun comes from, although it doesn't show you exactly how the Predators got the gun back. I don't know. So maybe they're setting up a sequel and it will show you how the Predators get that gun from Nauru. But this is a movie I think you should check out if you are a Predator fan. It will kind of remind you of the first one. Of course, Arnold and the other characters aren't in this one, but I think it was executed beautifully, and I think you guys should check it out. Alright guys, that was my review of Prey, and I have some more videos coming out, so keep an eye out for that. Thank you for subscribing, thank you for the likes, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys.